What's going on, everybody? So we are back here at Griffith Park again for another workout. Today is going to be more or less the same workout that we did last time. We're going to do another fartlek. Last time we did 3 on 2 off, and we did that 6 times. So we are going to increase the time that we'll be at tempo. So we're going for about 5 minutes with about a 3-minute break. So it's a little bit longer. Hoping to try and maintain those same 5:20 to 5:30 minute mile pace for the whole 5 minutes. But today I'm actually going to go through everything that I do for my warm-up. I'm going to show you what dynamic stretches that I like to do, and then what running drills I like to do before pretty much all my hard workouts and all of my races. I mean, my warm-up, it's kind of tried and true for me. I've been using this warm-up for maybe 4 or 5 years. This particular warm-up, like everything that I do, it's the same drills, it's the same thing every single time. But I'll share with you exactly what I do and why I do it, because there is purpose behind everything I do, more or less. And some of it is I got from just experience, from my years of running, and what my coaches have showed me over the years. And then some of it is based on what I know about the mechanics of running and kind of trying to figure out a way to best prepare for running. One thing to note is I do not do static stretching as part of the warm-up. If I'm particularly sore, I might do a little bit of the static stretching, but I don't hold it that long. Static stretching has no place for warm-up. And part of that is, if you think about the warm-up, the purpose of a warm-up is to prep the body, prep your muscles, prep the working muscles. And on top of that, we're also trying to increase core temperature, because we know that your muscles operate at an optimal temperature, at an optimal pH, and you just don't get that with static stretching. But when it comes to like anything that's higher intensity, even if it's just like a light jog, you really don't want to spend time stretching if your purpose is to warm up. So right now we are just doing a little bit of rolling. This is more or less what I like to do. I did talk about, sometimes I hammer the legs with the Theragun, depending if I'm especially tender. I like to use the R8 because it's handy. I can get around certain areas, the calves, quads, glutes, hamstrings, and it kind of minimizes the amount of time that if I were just using a straight roller, I'd have to spend time on the quads first, versus with this, I can hit both the quads and the hamstrings at the same time. And part of the reason for doing this is, one, to break up some of that muscle fascia. You've got muscle fibers that are wrapped with like this thin layer of what we call fascia, and when that starts to get tightened up, everything else starts to lock up. So the purpose of rolling is just to kind of break some of that, as well as promote some good blood circulation. Once we're done with this, then we go into the dynamic stretches, which I use stretches very loosely. All I'm doing is just passing through the ranges of motion for different types of stretches and different muscle groups. So we'll get to that in just a moment. It is a little toasty today. It's about 82 degrees, but last time I did this workout on the bike path and it was at night, and so the sun wasn't a problem at all. But this time, since we do have some daylight, I'm gonna do this on the trail. So it'll be slightly different. The trail is more or less still pretty flat, so I should have more or less compatible times or compatible efforts from last week, even though last week was on road. And we know that road is slightly faster. There's less of that slipping and sliding. Today's shoes, we are using same ones as last time. These are the Ultra Escalante. I used to wear just the Escalante Racer for these workouts, but for those of you that do not know, I have a bad toe, if you will. I've got hallux rigidus on my right foot here. So this is actually really nice because it gives a little bit more support, but it's still a pretty lightweight shoe. I've nicknamed these on Strava as the Red Tessaiga. So for all of my anime manga nerds out there, you know exactly what that is. If not, you should look it up, Red Tessaiga, because that's the manga that I have been reading lately, and it is my favorite. And we do have a special guest today who's actually going to help me film all of this so it's not just a stagnant camera. The lovely fiance, Jessica Luna. She's staring at me right now from afar. Look at her. Wow, so sexy. All right. So these are the dynamic stretches. For these, you can set up cones, or what I like to do is do 10 total, 5 per leg for each of the drills that I do, more or less. But to set up the cones, I go about 20 paces or 20 steps, which roughly equates to about anywhere from 10 to 20 feet or 20 yards, depending on how long your legs are. So setting the first one down, it's literally just walking natural steps. 1, 2, 3. Right here. So from here to there, about 20 steps, and then from there we go right into it. So the first one I do, I call these hamstring scoops. We're targeting those hamstrings, back knees bent, front foot, heel on the ground, toe pointed up, reaching down, and you scoop on up. Then from here, it's taking 3 steps. 1, 2. On that third step, you switch legs. So this knee is bent, front knee extended, reach down, scooping up. 1, 2, 3, scoop. 1, 2, 3, scoop. And again, we don't hold these stretches. Part of this is just some muscle activation, getting through the range of motion, waking up those hamstrings. If you've been sitting before your workout or anything like that, you want to wake up the muscles. Going way back, I call these Flamingo Walks, or just the Flamingo. So many of you are familiar with just grabbing the ankle and holding it here for the static stretch. But for this, I grab the ankle, I reach up with the opposite arm, and then pull back, really accentuate that stretch or that activation of the hip flexor going into the quad. And for this, you also want to make sure that your glutes are tucked underneath the hips. So like you have a tail between your legs, or you have a tail and you want to put it between your legs. Next one I call heel ups. You're going to grab the ankle, pull up with the heel, start to activate those glutes. Again, 3 steps in between these. All right, for this one, knee huggers. You can grab the hamstring, you can grab the knee, whichever you like. What you don't want to do is lean back or lean forward. You just want to be nice, upright, and tall, and pull up. Take your 3 steps, pull up. So this is a nice good one for that low back. Next one, call them windmills. That's what we used to call them in high school, and it kind of just stuck, but you could call it a walking RDL or single leg RDL. So plant 1 foot down, send those hips back, reach down, pull on through. So for this one, definitely want to send those hips back. Ooh, hello. Get some of that activation in the hamstrings and the glutes. Pulling through with the hips, sending the hips back, pulling up with the hips. So we don't just want to bend over, more or less straight back as we go down. Next one, toy soldiers or Frankensteins, different names for different things, or excuse me, different names for the same thing. And it's just opposite hand, opposite leg. I like to take 3 steps in between, but you can go every step. Either one works. Next one, we have our gate openers. So for this, you want to get the knee up, out to the side, rock behind, and then walk on through. Knee up, open the gate, walk on through. This one, I really like to accentuate, making a big circle with the knee. Part of that is to really engage and activate those glutes. All right, going the other way, we're gonna close the gate. So same thing, but in reverse, send the foot back. Again, we're making a big old circle with that knee, stepping over as if there was a log in front of you and you wanna step over that log. All right, on the way back, do a duck walk, heels on the ground, toes pointed up. Try not to let the toes drop at all. And we're just walking back to our starting point. We got one muscle that controls dorsiflexion of the foot. That's that tibialis anterior, so we want to make sure it's nice and warmed up. On the way back, we want to work on that posterior part, so that's those calves. Come up on the balls of the feet or the big toes, and you don't want to roll the ankles out, just stay up on those big toes and start walking on your toes. Don't let the heels touch the ground. This is pretty much it for the dynamic stretches. From here, we go right into about 10-15 minutes of easy running. For my easier running days, this is more or less what I'll do if I'm feeling extra stiff and the rolling just isn't doing it. I'll do a couple of these before I start the run. And then, like I said, part of the first 10 minutes or so of the run is gonna be warm-up anyways. So I'm gonna go do my warm-up. We'll come back and then we'll do some of the running drills that I like to do before workouts and races.
15 minutes later.
Alright, we're back from the warm-up. It is quite toasty today, but we're rolling with this. So we're gonna go right into the running drills. So we set up the cones about 20 steps. Usually for these drills, I like to go another 10 steps on top of that because we cover a lot more distance and these are a lot more active. These are a lot more higher intensity. And so go about another 10 steps. All right, so the first one, I just call it a high knee skip. Literally, we're just going to be doing some skipping, but we're gonna accentuate a high knee thrust. And so all of running is based off of contralateral movement. So opposite hand, opposite leg, just like when you walk, right? We don't walk like this. And so although ipsilateral, same arm, same leg is easier for people, we would just wanna condition ourselves contralateral movements. So high knee skip, take a step, drive the arm back, up, and then the knee drives up with it. So here we go. All right, so next one we have is an A skip, skip and a slide. Same contralateral movement, opposite arm, opposite leg. Really want to work on those arms. A lot of people tend to just kind of let the arms go when they run or when they do drills, but we want to keep that intact. Upper body helps the lower body. Skip and slide, skip and slide. So that bottom foot doesn't really move much off the ground. It just kind of slides along the surface. Next we have a karaoke. So most people are familiar with karaoke, alternating front, back, front, back, front, back. Karaoke adds a little bit of a knee drive. We want to focus on getting the knee up first, then crossing over. Don't want to lead with the foot over. So here we go. Knee up, high and over, knee up, high and over, knee up, high and over. And back the other way, doing the other leg for this one. Next one, leg curl. So think of it like the first part of running. When your foot's back here, you get that heel to the butt, and then we curl the leg, get the knee up. So it's exactly that, heel to the butt, curl the leg, knee up. A lot of people are familiar with butt kickers. They're great. I mean, it's still getting the heart rate up. I like to add that curl because it simulates more of that running motion. So here we go. Heel to the butt, knee up, heel to the butt, knee up. Think of it like a locomotive. On the way back, kind of think of like the second part of running. So it's a B skip, knee up, kick out. So after we curl that leg, get the knee up, we get the knee up, kick the foot out. Focus on getting the knee up first, then shooting that leg out. Knee up, kick out, knee up, kick out, knee up, kick out. Next one we have a side to side. Head, shoulders, hips, toes, everything's pointed forward. And you're gonna get your arms up. Think of it like a moving jumping jack. And for this one, about halfway through, I kind of do a full circle. And I go back side to side. Part of it is just activating these lateral muscles, getting those arms in there, going back the other way. And we spend the entire time going in that sagittal plane for running that we rarely, if ever, do a sharp turn, change directions or anything of the sort. So just kind of activating those muscles as well. They need to work, they need to hold their own load. Next one, call them laterals. Some people call this C skip. It really again, there's no one size or universal name for all of these. But so for this one, think of it like 2 A skips. Do an A skip, skip and slide with the knee forward, and then the second one, back to back, you go sideways. So it's a lateral A skip with, there we go, 1 in, 1 out, alternate, 1 in, 1 out. Next one, we have flipping it around, reaching high and back, and it's just kind of driving with that heel. Reach full extension. All right, next one, we have a C skip. This is my interpretation of C skip. Short, quick skips, planting with the ball of feet, driving those knees up. Short, quick skips, short, quick skips. Next one, we have a straight leg with a leg curl. I used to do these just straight leg, but I kind of like adding that extra curl. It's just firing those legs, getting them to turn over quick. Especially if we're doing some faster stuff, we want to get the legs turning over pretty nicely. So for this, every third one, we curl the leg underneath, straight leg, pushing off the balls of the feet, kicking those feet up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Next one, we have our high knees. Starting to lose a little bit of breath, but that's the point, right? We want to get that heart rate elevated, really get ourselves going. So we got our high knees, it's just straight up, straight down. Next, we got an ankle pop. These, you really want to focus on pushing down the balls of the feet and at that ankle. So dorsiflexion, plantar flexion at the ankle, and getting some good height in each pop. So this is very different than the straight leg, so we don't want to keep the feet up. We're kind of just pushing off with that foot that's climbing down. And then finally, exaggerated skip. So staying up nice and proud, get that knee up, pop the hand underneath. So if you do this right, you shouldn't be bending over, and your hand should just easily pop underneath the leg. That's it. Those are the running drills. Next up, anywhere from 2 to 4 20-second strides if I'm out and about. If I'm on a track, I'll do 100-meter strides. Kind of progress from more or less tempo, pick up a little bit faster, maybe do a mile race pace, 800-meter race pace. And then if I really need to, I'll go a little bit faster than that. All right. I'm gonna get started on the workout, and so I will see you all when I come back, hopefully with some good news that it went well. All right, we'll see you in a bit. All right, that did not go anywhere near as well as I had hoped. It was super high. I came around the first 5-minute interval. I think we went about 5:39, and I was hoping for at least a 5:35. The next set, or the next rep, was even worse. Had quite a bit of some rolling hills, and I just felt my feet just slipping under the sand and started getting a really bad cotton mouth. We came around, I think, like 5:51, so it was quite slow. In that third rep, I decided to get off the dirt, go back onto the road, because honestly there was really no difference in the heat. I mean, it was hot either way. So got back on the road, and I think we went like 5:40. I'll have to check again, but I think it was like 5:45-ish or 5:48. And then that last one was around like a 5:42 pace. So I mean, it wasn't, I kept it somewhat near where I wanted it to be, but that heat just really got to me. I am just not acclimated for the heat right now. I mean, I was dehydrated. I felt that cotton mouth come in, probably not even halfway into the first rep. So definitely indicative of poor hydration and then just poor heat acclimatization. But we got it done, finished up. I was hoping they actually took out one of the water fountains in Griffith Park by the trail. So there's usually one by around where like this horse bend is, or this horse stable thing, and they took it out, which I was hoping to hit on one of my recoveries, and I passed another water fountain during one of the reps, but I don't like stopping midway, so I just mustered through, and we got it done. So even when these types of workouts kind of hit me hard, one of the things I always fall back on is just staying focused and just making the best out of it. A large part of running is that mental aspect. And I even teach this in my motor control class about the differences between central fatigue and peripheral fatigue. And the peripheral is what we feel muscularly, but that central, I mean, we can overcome some of the peripheral fatigue to an extent. And so that's kind of what it is, and it's that mind over matter component of running that I know my body can handle it, but you've got all these confounding variables, or you have all these external variables coming in with the heat. You're dehydrated, you're tired, you're kind of just pushing through everything. And so I didn't hit my time the first one, I did worse the second one, and then those next two, at that point I was just going back to my mantras. So one that I really like to use when I'm running is light, float, and effortless. Strong arms, couple that up with some breathing rhythms, and we got through it. So overall, I'm pretty happy with what we did today. Tomorrow will be a recovery run, and then Saturday will probably be the 45 minutes with strides, and then Sunday will be a long run day. So I'm looking forward to it. Trying to go up a little bit more on my mileage this week. Last week we went 30, so I want to abide by that 10% rule, go about 33-ish in that area. But if I hike up to 35 miles, most of my training is time-based anyways. I don't really go mileage-based, so it's kind of whatever happens, but I still kind of try to stick within that 10%, 10-15% increase from week to week. But otherwise, I'm happy with today. I hope you all enjoyed the breakdown of the warm-ups. Everything stays the same for me. I'm gonna hit into my cool down now, I finished my cool down. I'm gonna hit into the static stretching, do a little bit of rolling. But we're still doing this. So we're still respecting the process, we're staying the course, and we're always running happy no matter what. All right, everybody, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.